Everybody,
Awesome.
everybody is here.
Yep.
I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus me, right? 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Who is not here?
You have everybody. All 7.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay. Let's record. Start recording.
29 seconds into the recording.
Okay. Okay, it is now 4 to 7:11, and we are starting our Education, Culture, and Youth Services Committee meeting. Welcome, everybody. Welcome old members, which are still new, and new members as of today. And that would be Ronella Bashiri, Sasabi Ali Silwi, excuse me if I'm not saying your names correctly. And Christina Cruz. I want to welcome you all. And we are going to focus tonight on the Yankee Leadership Awards. And I'll give an overview. And I know that Jeremy was explaining also, so I'm not going to waste too much time. I do not see anybody from the public here. So we should go into executive session just in case anybody decides to pop in. But, and as Jeremy had said, both myself and Phyllis Nasasio will have to go into the waiting room when particular nominees that we sponsored through organizations are to be discussed. So I will leave those two for last, only because the questions beforehand, you'll get an idea of what's to be discussed when you're looking over each one of the nominees' paperwork. But just to briefly go over, I've been on the Youth Education Committee since 2008 with two great chair and co-chairs that are no longer with us. And I learned a lot, and especially when we were dealing with the Yankee Leadership Award nominees. Things have changed each year. What changed over the last 2 years was the age. And if you all know what the memorandum is that comes out, and it comes out from Community Board 11, and it gives you the criteria. So the Yankees give each one of the community boards a specific amount of money to be divvied up between 5 nominees, 5 finalists, not nominees, but 5 finalists. And it comes out to $750 that gets awarded to them for their leadership roles within the community, within their schools for particular subjects. And it's really a motivational incentive to plant seeds of leadership, which I think are extremely important in today's world. Some children grow into adults and they have a natural instinct for it. Others, motivation really does help, and they learn as they go along. So it's very important to really help our youth because they are our future. And that's a basic goal of this whole committee, is really trying to understand, fuel ideas for our children because they are our future, what's going on in the schools, what they're being taught, what's being taught. So for the Yankee Leadership Award, as I said, each nominee gets $750 that they can spend on whatever they want. There are no strings attached to it where they have to only spend on school items or school curriculum or school books, whatever. It's theirs as a gift for their participation in wanting to be leaders. The criteria is an age criteria, which is from 14 to 20. That has changed in the past few years, but I think we're keeping it at 14 to 20. Sometimes that's hard for some of the younger 14 and 15-year-old because they've not had as much years being leaders and experience and a lot of activities that they're involved in, but that still does not matter because we want to give incentive for this whole age group. The other criteria is that they have to be residents of Community Board 11, or they have to do their volunteer work or work within their school that's within Community Board 11. So it's always good to keep that in mind when looking at a nominee. Okay. And also, when you are looking for potential nominees within your families, church, groups that you participate in, this is something to really tell a lot of the parents, especially in the schools, as incentive to let them know that you need to focus on this so that you could be an example to others and you can hone in on initiatives that you feel passionate about. And having a money incentive is always a plus. So when looking at the resumes and the front of the memorandum that gives a bit of an overview, always remember, how old are they? Do they live in Community Board 11 boundaries? Or do they do their volunteer work in Community Board 11 boundaries, whether it be within a community that their church is in, which is in Community Board 11, or their school? So that's very important. So as we look at this year's nominees to be the 5 finalists, what I urge everybody to do is look within your communities. See which families have children within the ages of 14 to 20 and start working with them now. Work with the parents, work with the children, tell them to sit down, write up a resume, even if it just puts their education, what part-time experience they have, but what's most important, what has been their voluntary community work. And as we said over here, which is very important, that the nominees ages 14 to 20 are expected to perform 50 hours of leadership / volunteer work as a tutor, mentor, community unity developer, and or as an advocate against violence or substance abuse, either as a resident of Community Board 11 or non-resident who performs their service in Community Board 11. So I know that's a lot to take in, but does anybody have any questions with that?
Bernadette, if nobody
Yeah.
has questions, I just want to fill in a few things. Just so everybody's aware, the award currently $750. It used to be $500, the stipend.
Oh,
And this, as far as I know, this was created, all 12 Bronx boards are allowed to select up to 5 youths every year. And this is part of the deal with when Yankee Stadium was rebuilt. The current stadium was built using taxpayer dollars. This is supposedly one way that they were going to make amends for getting taxpayer dollars by giving back to the community every year. And we do have at least one recipient in our presence. And also, board members, relatives, Burnett made mention of that. It is not a conflict of interest for a board member's child to be put up for the award.
okay.
The board member can obviously, like Bernadette and Tiz tonight, they're not going to take part in the selection process of who gets the award. So it's similar to that. They just have to recuse themselves from the process. Let me see, I wrote down.
I have a question. Do you mean that we can't vote in the final for all of them or just the ones that we submitted?
Yeah, so the conflict of interest, the advisory opinion from the Conflicts of Interest Board is that you recuse yourself from all the applicants.
Oh,
Um,
oh, I wasn't aware. I thought it was just, okay.
yeah, because they don't. If you think about it, they don't want you. The perception alone that you could use your influence to deny or approve an applicant is what they want to avoid. So, um, so that's from the Conflicts of Interest Board, and also obviously you would know about. I mean, yeah, I don't think we're going to have any problems with that. With whether it's, I know Bernadette's. We had board members whose kids interned at the office and they got the award. So the office can also vouch for some of these people.
Mhm.
And the resume, I know I got a question earlier today about resumes or lack of. For some of these people, they've never had to create a resume before. For some of these youths, they've never had to do that before. So a requirement comes originally from the New York Yankees. And, we create our own form based on the New York Yankees' form. And so that specific community unity, exactly, work to stop violence, that comes from the Yankees. It's not hard. It's not a hard, fast rule. If you see somebody that they didn't do, maybe they do volunteer service at church or something, and based, you use your own judgment. If you think they're worthy of the award, the New York Yankees, in my experience, they've never denied us anybody we put forth, and I think that's all I need to say at the moment. Anybody else want to? Questions, comments? Generally speaking, when we get into specific applicants, we'll do that privately for privacy reasons.
I just have a quick question, if that's okay. Um,
Sure.
I just wanted to know if you had to have, because most of these are vouched or like nominated by organizations or they're under an organization. If in the future, if you wanted to encourage somebody to apply for it, do they have to be under an organization or can they just submit an application to the community board?
What they have to do, they don't have to be part of the organization that they're asking to submit through. So in other words, the different organizations that are part of Community Board 11, like the Van Ness Neighborhood Alliance, or Allerton International Merchants, the 49 Precinct Council, Morris Park Community Association, that particular person can go to that organization and say, do you have, can you have my nominee be submitted through your organization? So you can request that. I think each organization can submit 2, or is it 3? 2 or 3 nominees.
I don't know if we've actually limited it, but the
It
reason
was it was either 2 or 3. I don't think it was more than that.
I mean, I can tell you that. I mean, the reason the focus is on through a civic associate or through some type of group. Some of the applicants are from schools directly. We want to encourage people to go to these organizations, to learn about them, to maybe take part. Um, that's the reason
Yeah,
it's done that way.
Oh, so in answer to your question, Salsa, so if you had somebody that you basically said, you would like to have as a nominee, you can even call up Jeremy and ask him, say, I'm not too sure exactly what civic association I could call, etc. What do you suggest? And there is, like I said, a list of them that if they do not have any nominees and they look it over, they would definitely sign it and have it go through them. So so that's, that is, I guess the word is, that's kosher. That's one way of doing it. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I definitely did. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
And Salsa, you have to leave early tonight, right? I believe.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, it's at 8 o'clock. So what I'd like to do is I really, at this point, if there's no other questions, The one thing we were going to talk about, I'm going to leave the minutes because I know Salsa does have to leave at 8 o'clock. So the minutes of our past meeting, I do apologize. I have not put them in yet, but I will do it. But quickly, what I will say is that we did have an extremely fruitful meeting last time. Our key speaker was the Amy Fair, which is the liaison from CEC 11, which is the Council Community Education Council, District 11. This is all a volunteer group also, but they are extremely effective and knowledgeable. And she was our guest speaker, and she was a liaison for PS 481. And in the meantime, overlapping, there was a parent from PS 481 that had contacted Community Board 11. So we brought her in with her issue, along with the principal of PS 481 and other particular sources of resources, for like Monica Major from the Borough President's Office. We also had Christy Olson from Neighborhood Initiative Development Corp. And also, I can't think of the other person. We had Farah Rubin from Council Member Jonai. At that time, he was still council member. And so all of these people had resource information, was able to guide and answer questions and reach out to the school and the parent with the questions. So it was a very fruitful, it was a very exciting meeting. And I will put that into words and send that to Jeremy so that minutes will go up on the Community Board 11 website. And at the end of January, myself, along with Amy Fair and the Vice President of Fannis Neighborhood Alliance, we will have a follow-up meeting at the end of January with the principal and also the parent to see where they're at with their questions and if they've gotten the information that they needed. So we will be following up with them just to track, their progress. So that was an extremely good meeting.
So, Tiz said you asked her to do the minutes and she agreed for
Mhm.
tonight.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you, Tiz. I appreciate it. I had texted her earlier, Jeremy.
Great.
Yeah,
Tiz
so-
is Phyllis, by the way.
Yes,
I
I was going to say that. Thanks, Jeremy. Tiz is Phyllis.
Yes. Tiz is her nickname. So as she says, she answers to both.
Yep.
Okay. Jeremy, since there's nobody in the public, do you think that we should just go ahead and just to start discussing?
I would make a
nominees?
motion to go, again, I would make a motion to go into executive session. So that way I can lock the meeting so nobody can join while anybody's discussing. And yeah, I think, again, that should put you and Tiz in the waiting room.
In the waiting room, yes.
Well, I would like to point something out then, so that by Tiz and I are not going to be discussing. Can I point out some things with each one of the nominees because everybody is so new? I just want to point out, I mean, I went through, first of all, I want to know if everybody had a chance to read the particular nominees. I know that we have 3 new people that might not.
Yes, I was able to look through them.
Okay,
No,
so
where do you receive the information?
I sent it out in an email. So did you not get it, Christine?
Um,
I would have to look back at my emails.
I sent one out yesterday at 1:22.
Was it with with the attachment of the nominees?
Yeah, no, yeah, it was the one you had me send out to the members of the committee back in November. So I just forwarded that on and I CC'd you on, I forwarded it on to the new members yesterday at 1:22 p.m.
Oh, okay. I
Yes,
just,
I received it.
That's Phyllis. Okay.
That's me, yeah.
Salsa, I think you said to me that you saw it and you looked at everything or whatever.
Yeah, I went through them.
What I'm going to point out, since Tiz and I are not going to be in there, I already went through. I'm sorry. I can't hear that. Who's speaking? Christine, I.
Oh, sorry. I think that's background noise in my house. Sorry.
Oh, okay, okay, sorry. Um, all of the applicants, because what you have to do is you have to check their ages. You have to check where they live, and they have to check, if they do not live in Community Board 11. So everybody, if I'm correct, everybody either lives, everybody qualifies as far as either living in Community Board 11 or doing their community work. There was none that I went through that I would immediately disqualify, and that's very important because that's criteria. In the past, that has happened quite often. People just submit, they don't realize that their volunteer work was not done at all in Community Board 11, or in their school that's in Community Board 11, even though they live outside of the boundaries. So just so you know, I went through all of the nominees. So, and they are all within the ages of 14 to 20. So they all do meet that because each one has to have their birthday put on there to just check their ages, etc. So, and what I will ask everybody to do is to really look at what their experience is and what they've done, not just what they've achieved. While that's important, what we're looking for are the leaders that have done the mentoring, tutoring, volunteer work within their church, etc., that is within Community Board 11, because there is one nominee that has done a lot of stuff within their two churches that are within Community Board 11. So I just want you to look at that and highlight and read. Also, make sure you read this information that is printed, not only what's attached. And I know there are two nominees that did not actually put a resume in resume form, but they did give explanation. And to be honest, I think that, it is a resume, but not a resume that you would give to a business. So that's all I'm going to say. That's not influencing anybody. I just really want you to know what to look at. And Jeremy, can I ask a question?
Yeah, but before that, I just want to note that ideally the committee votes tonight, those who don't have to recuse themselves, but you don't have to. You don't have to. We still haven't received notice from the Yankees to submit yet. And ideally, the nominees will be put forth before the board for voting, but I don't think we've done that. I think a long time ago, the board decided to leave it up to the education committee to make the selections. So we could probably bypass the full board. Ideally, we don't. Everything that's done in committee does go to the full board for final approval. That way everything's transparent as possible, right? I think, that's always a concern that our members have, that they're not in the know. They're not aware, especially if they put forth a nominee. But don't feel pressure just because, like South has to leave or whatever, or
we have enough time. I think we
Yeah.
have enough time. It's 7:36 right now. I think we have enough time. There are only 6 nominees and 5 are to be picked. So,
and they don't have to pick 5, right? Like if 2 of them are really not qualified in your opinion, you don't have to go there. But I don't recommend that. I recommend selecting
Picking 5.
5 because, I recommend selecting 5 because while they're even now, we don't know. Even now, there's no guarantee that this will happen, and that's the disclaimer that I put on the memorandum that's on the website, is that even though we can approve whatever we want, doesn't mean the Yankees ultimately will accept what we submit to them, or we'll continue doing this at all.
But I will say, and you will agree, I'm sure, happens every year.
Yeah,
Am I correct?
Yes, it has since 2000, I think, 99. I forget whenever this deal was cut.
I know since I've been choosing since 2008, that's always been a disclaimer because it's really up to the Yankees to continue with this. And but this is all in preparation so that when it happens, it's already done.
Yeah, but you never know. Tomorrow never knows. So I don't recommend not selecting 5. So you had a question, Brad? I'm sorry.
My question was, uh, after discussion, do we come out of executive board and vote, or
Yeah, all of our votes. So legally we can vote in executive session. I don't recommend it.
Okay.
It's much because when you do that legally, you're supposed to then take minutes about executive session. Or if you
Okay.
don't vote in executive session and we make it clear, so on the agenda, the reason for going to executive session is to discuss the award applicants' personal qualifications such as age, residence, and/or employment history. So, the reasons for it are clear. We do have to vote to go into it. So, motion is required, a second, discussion. There'll hopefully be no more discussion. And then we got to state for the record the time we enter executive session and then the time we come out of it.
Okay, but Phyllis and I
Yes.
are not going to be in executive session, correct?
Right.
Yep.
But I'll put down the time that we go into it, and then once we're brought out of the waiting room, I'll put down the time we came out of it.
Yeah. And we'll state it
Okay.
on the recording for the record.
Okay, so make a motion to go into executive session to
Second.
discuss. Thank you. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay.
No discussion, no against, no abstentions. And I already stated the reasons are clear enough for why we're going in there. Okay,
Okay, so Jeremy, I have to leave it up to you.
yeah, what
we're
time for
supposed to
the
go.
record
It's
is
7:40.
7:40.
Okay. So I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.
Actually, hold on, let me pause it. I can pause it versus. So the recording started at 8:10 p.m.
Thank you.
And yeah, so Burnett, Phyllis, you're obviously there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So does anybody from the committee want to report or make a motion? Or we wait for Keith to join, or we can just state Keith's.
Um,
So there's an issue. Burnett, Keith said his computer started updating and shut him out. So we got him I was able to get him on the phone. I put him on speaker. We got his opinion on the applicants.
okay.
And he's going to go with the rest of the committee with what they've decided. He's
Okay.
going to try to call in. So,
Okay.
I think of the committee members able to vote, which is 5 total. We have 3 present. I think that's enough legally to allow a vote.
To allow for an actual final vote.
Yeah, they're prepared to vote. And
Should I
and
make a
Keith is-
motion? Should I make a motion first?
well, I would stay recused
Okay.
and just let them make the motion, and you just stand by, I guess.
Okay, I'll listen.
I mean, unless you guys want to wait for Keith, but I made it clear, and Ornella and Christine and Natalie as my witness.
Okay.
He's going with the majority opinion.
That's good.
Okay.
Jeremy,
Alright.
can you put up the agenda so we have the names again of the
Yes.
nominees?
Yes, doing that right now. So, Natalie, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, can you scroll down a little bit so I use the language? Perfect. I would like to make a motion to nominate Joseph P. Arana Jr., John Capazzoli, Ashwak Galib, Gabriel Johnson, Shantia Lewis for the 2022 Youth Leadership Award.
Okay.
Can we get a second?
I second.
Who was that?
Ornella.
Okay.
So Natalie made the motion, Renee seconded it. Discussion. The only thing I would clarify is that this is to be submitted to the New York Yankees for their 2022 Youth Leadership Award. They do not have to accept whatever we submit to them. And I should also clarify that when the youth do get selected, historically there's an award ceremony at Bronx Community Board 11 Day at Yankee Stadium. And just for the record, Salsa had to leave. She left before executive session ended.
Jeremy,
But
just one question. I only got 4 names: Joseph, John, Ashwak, and Gabriel. Who was the fifth?
So on the agenda, A through E.
A through E.
uh,
Okay.
Joseph, John,
Shantia.
Ashwat, Gabriel, and Shantia.
Okay.
Okay.
And the committee also concluded that whoever did not get the award this year is highly encouraged to apply next year.
Yes. Yes. Always. Always. And I just wanted to also add that when the actual date of the game where the awards would be given to the finalists, it is given on the mound. Am I correct? In the middle of Yankee Stadium?
So
In the past, it has.
COVID has changed the award ceremony. It used to be they go on the field and take a photo, usually with myself and the chairman, the chairpeople of the committee, and the chairperson of the board. COVID, they didn't do that last year. They had a special seating section for the awardees. Behind it, was it third base? I forget where the special seating was. And so the way it works too is unless you're somehow involved, unless like I would have to double check, but so they give out these tickets. Board members are not supposed to take them legally unless they are somehow chaperoning an applicant to the game, right? Because usually these people are minors.
Yes.
That's the only justification for outside of
And the chair,
if they do
and the chair or the chair and the chair goes, the chair or the co-chair. I know in the past they have.
Yeah, if they're invited, if they actually do an awards ceremony, we're allowed to go with them
Okay.
to go on the field for the photo.
And
but
stay
that
for
is
the
something-
game. And stay for the game. Am I correct?
Yeah, they can only stay for the game if they're part of the award ceremony.
Got it.
And just for the record, Salsa, although she left early, she did also conclude with the motion that was made. She concurred with the motion that was made.
Very good. And I just want to thank everybody who did a fantastic job timing wise. I thought it was great to come up with these choices. And at some point, if there's any discussion or questions or whatever, well, we can discuss that at another time, because it is something that it's important to know how to make the decisions on this. So I commend everybody. Thank you.
So the motion is still live. It's been seconded, but it's not been voted on. So formally, for those who do not recuse themselves, if you want to state, I believe it's unanimous, right, Natalie?
For those in favor? Say
Yes, I.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion
So that was
passes
Natalie,
unanimous.
Ornella. Yep. Yes. No abstentions and no objections.
Okay,
So, Bernadette,
the
there's
motion
no members of
carries.
the public.
Motion carries. Very good. Okay.
So we'll take it, we'll take it to the full board, right? I'll put it on the agenda for the full board,
Yes.
right? Just so I'm aware of. Okay.
All right, very good. And I'm glad that everybody decided to nominate 5. I thought that's a very good choice. Very good decision. So I'm just going to move forward with old business and new business. For me, the only old business is that I know that we do have a list of the actual schools that are within Community Board 11, and they are on the website. I will put them together in a PDF and make sure that everybody does get them as a handout so that you have it at a glance. Because that was discussed, and and thank you. I think Natalie, you were the one that gave the link, and also Jeremy pointed it out to me. I never knew it was on the website. Do you believe that? I never knew that. So thank you both. And also, we had discussed in the past to update our scope and goals. So that's something I'll send out between now and the next meeting, just to read what is in the past and how we could possibly update it. Okay. Does anybody else have any old business that they would like to bring up?
So, Bernadette, may share, well, share the computer screen. Just so there's 2 things with what you said. The resources page, which is where this is under.
Right.
Trying to figure. Hold on.
I was just basically gonna put them all on a, on one sheet of paper, because right now it's all on a list, and it's good that it has all the links, but it's important to have, to have a list in front of you so you can make your notes. I go
Yeah,
both ways.
so just so everybody's clear, of course, if you have questions, if you look on the website meetings tab, pages 16 and 17 of our bylaws
Yes,
show the committee description. So if that needs to be updated, please review it, make suggestions right here, education, culture, and youth services. And then the resources tab is where the schools are. Gotta scroll down, obviously. Doesn't mean it's up to date. There could be errors with this page. If you point out an error, I will quickly correct it. I'll correct it as quickly as possible. Let's put that.
right, and that's something too, if we all get a chance to look at it to see if there are any schools that, information that needs to be updated. So yeah, that's a very good point, Jeremy.
And even since Bernadette, you're part of the Van Ness Neighbor Alliance, or Tiz, since you're part of certain organizations, if they're not on the community groups organizations list, or if they're incorrect information, that's something else I would want you to apprise me of.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
And also, like all of that stuff, like there was, I've brought to Jeremy's attention many times, certain things that I know that are in, my neighborhood or maybe another neighborhood, and it's been, this is how we keep everything up to date. So it's always good to be able to see what those resources are, make sure they're correct and, or added in there. So thank you. That's very important. And I honestly, it was like, I never knew that that was in the resource page. That was never brought to my attention about the school list.
Well, I did bring it to the attention of the board at some point, but maybe you weren't present, or maybe you
Exactly.
didn't see
Or it
the.
went right over my head. And so,
Yeah.
yes, it's very important for the chair of this committee to know that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I always appreciate information. So is there any other old business that, yeah, I mean, I know we have new people, but Phyllis and Natalie, is there anything else that you might want to bring to the forefront?
Just, do we know if 481 ever got the help they needed with the after-school program?
Yes, that is, there, we are at, yes, I actually just got a letter from an email from the parent, um, which allowed me some questions. So that was my first question. So I'm
Okay.
gonna follow up, with that, besides setting up a Zoom meeting with, the principal and also the parent that, is wanting to make sure that her questions about the after-school programs, etc. And anybody else who wants to be a part of that meeting, please let me know, and I'll share you the Zoom information, and you can jump on
Okay.
and just let me know. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a disconnect, and I think that I need to find out where that disconnect is, because it keeps on coming back towards um, the committee, which basically has other deeper resources that are need to be more, to be getting that information to the principal. I'm trying to find out after the email I just got today. I need to find out. So once I
Yeah,
get
I picked
So-
up on that also, that there was a disconnect there.
oh yeah.
So-
I didn't want to be blatant about things,
Yeah.
but yeah, there was a disconnect, and we hopefully will be able to move forward and clear that up. And Jeremy, oh, I'm glad you brought up PS 481. Please move forward with the email that I sent you to get the inspector and the health inspector and the Department of Building inspector.
Yes.
So, if I mind going back to other old business, is that okay? Are you ready
Yeah.
for that?
Yeah, this is old business. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, obviously if we didn't have a little bit of a time crunch in the beginning, right? Especially with like someone like Salsa leaving and now Keith is not reappearing. Since, maybe we can do introductions really briefly, especially for the new people. Because they maybe know us as well as a hole in the wall, or we know them as well as a hole in the wall, so to speak. Is that okay? Do you mind
Sure.
if everybody just
Oh, that
introduce
sure. And I
themselves?
apologize for not doing that. I just wanted to speed things up because I know Salsa had to leave. Um, my name is Bernadette Ferrara. I have been a part of Community Board 11 on the board since 2008. And since I've been on the board, I have always been in the Education, Culture, and Youth Services Committee. I'm a lifelong resident of Van Nest, and I'm also the president of the Van Nest Neighborhood Alliance, which I was part of a co-founder, along with the support of Community Board 11 that helped Van Nest Neighborhood Alliance get formed. And we have been extremely busy and extremely active. um, I I love Community Board 11. I love my neighborhood. Um, I am American of Italian heritage. My family has been within the Van Ness community since the early 1930s, within the community with my uh, grandparents and relatives that came over from Italy through Ellis Island. Um, I graduated from St. Dominic's, which is now St. Dominic's. Unfortunately, has closed in 2010, I think, or 2011, and we have been able to get that location, have a public school in there, which is now PS 481. Um, so that's a little bit about me. I'm a passionate advocate also, not only for my community. I'm also a huge animal advocate, and been fighting for our Bronx to have our animal shelter since 2000. And we, along with myself and other people that have, joined the bandwagon, we will be getting our animal shelter hopefully in 2024, maybe 2026, who the heck knows. But that's just a little bit about me. Who wants to jump in? Phyllis?
I'll jump in. I'll turn on my video so you can put a face with the name. Hi, my name is Phyllis, also known as Tiz. Tiz is my middle name. I'm a teacher in the community. I teach at St. Francis Xavier. I've been there for 20 years, but I've been in the community my whole life. I was born and raised in the Bronx. I'm also on the executive board of the 49th Precinct Council and Allerton International Merchants Association, and also the Morris Park Community Association. So I do try to wear many hats. My main concern in the community is having something for our kids. We need a community center. We need something for them. I coached basketball with CYO for many, many years, and I'd like to bring something like that to the community, something for our kids to do after school besides just hanging out on the streets
And getting into trouble.
and get into, yeah. I mean, our kids are pretty good. We have a good community of kids, but they need something, someplace where they can get homework help, where they can play sports, where they can learn new sports. To go to colleges, so many scholarships are given to athletes. And for sports that we've never even heard of here in the Bronx, lacrosse, who plays lacrosse in the Bronx? But it's one of the biggest scholarships given by colleges. So we need to really step up our game and do more for kids in the community. That's it.
Thank you.
Any former students you want to mention?
Oh, Andrew Velasquez. He was brought up to the Yankees. He was just actually signed on by the Angels in the off season. But yes, Andrew Velasquez was my student. He also graduated St. Francis with my daughter. As you can tell, I'm Italian. I talk with my hands a lot. It's a habit. But yeah, Andrew is one of our proudest moments. He's one of our shining stars. We're very proud
That's
of him.
wonderful. That's great. Okay, how about you, Natalie?
Hello, I'm Natalie. I've been part of Community Board 11 now since 2019, I think. And I've been living in Morris Park for 5 years almost now. I grew up in Brooklyn, so I am from New York. And since a young age, I've always been interested in helping youth. I mean, I was a tutor, I worked summer camps, etc., etc. And I've always been interested in schools and after schools, and I want to be involved in what's happening in the community and being able to help take us to where we want to see our community be for our youth.
And
That's
what
it.
do you do for a living?
Oh, I am an architect by day and night.
And a lot of other hours, right?
Exactly. So yeah, that's it.
Do you have anything specific that you type of things that you are interested in building or find, that you're drawn to?
Well, I mean, right now I mainly focus on residential architecture. My dream would be to do schools, actually. I think that the environment in which our kids learn are just as important as the things that they're learning, because it serves as inspiration for them, and so that's something that's in my mind all the time.
Start drawing it now. Be prepared when the opportunity comes by. Very good. Christine?
Yes, hi. I'm Christine Cruz. I was born and raised in the Bronx, in the Pelham Garden section of the Bronx, or Pelham Parkway. And I am currently a speech language pathologist or therapist, you could say, at a special education school. I believe would be District 15 is where my school is. And it's a Title I school, and it's a self-contained school, so all the students in my school have special needs. And I work primarily with students with autism, Down syndrome, or reading disorders or speech and language disorders, and I specialize in AAC, which is like providing children who are nonverbal like other means to communicate. and I've been doing that for 4 years. Before that, I did various teaching assistant jobs, and I've always done tutoring throughout my life in college and high school. I used to volunteer at the botanical gardens, and I'm excited to be on this board. I feel like you know, I'm excited to learn more about all of the ways that we can work together to help the community. And I know this was the first one that I joined, but I'm excited to, join the next one and continue working with you all. Thank you.
Great, fantastic. Okay, Ornella, am I
Hello,
saying your name correctly?
it's Ornella.
Ornella.
Actually, an Italian name.
Yeah, it is, yes. I would say Ornella.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Ronella Bashiri. I'm an Albanian American. I actually grew up in the Palm Parkway area. My family moved here from the beginning. Even though I've moved around, 2 years ago, I moved back to the community. I've always been part of the community, working here, volunteering here in politics. Currently, I'm doing real estate. However, my background is in political science, languages, and development. I'm very interested in, especially this committee itself, because I feel like if you need to change anything, it starts with the youth, and education is very important to me. I've worked with different schools internationally, actually, not just locally, with different programs. And again, this is where it has to start if you want to bring a change to community. Also, I'm very interested in development in general. And I believe that more of our constituents need to be involved in community making decisions, or being more involved, or even having the knowledge of what's going on in their community. So hopefully that's a project I could work with in the future.
It's I have to say, getting the word out and getting the knowledge out to the masses is always a challenge. It's a challenge for any civic association, for any community board. Um, expressing the need, because if there's always, especially for our future, which is our children. And I'm so glad to hear that the word community center is not only coming out of my mouth, because I've been trying to get that across for years, the need. I mean, years ago in Morris Park, Pelham Parkway, Van Est, that was always thrown on the Catholic schools for them to pick up the slack for sport night or something for the community for teens, not just the students that went to that school. Now that a lot of that has changed, nothing has taken the place. And as a person who grew up in Van Est, that there was no community center, no place for us to go, but a very small little library, and maybe 1 or 2 nights, at St. Dominic's gym or whatever, or what other gym that was going on. There was really nothing. And even my son, who is 27 years old, said, "Mom, I would not want to stay in Van Nest or Morris Park because there is nothing for the children." It's coming out of the mouth of babes. And this is something that I see our elected officials finding money for shelters, finding money for so many things, but nobody has taken up the baton of what's most important is our future, which is our children. So whether it's private school, Catholic school, public school, the other part, which is after school programs, sport nights, everything that brings in our children does not seem to hold any importance. It's all words. So I am hoping that the passion of this committee will bring forth at least even to the awareness of so many, you know. I have a question for Christine. Christine, you said I grew up with an autistic brother, so I'm very well versed in autism. He's severely autistic in a group home. But you say you work for nonverbal. Do you know sign language?
I'm not fluent, but I'm learning. And we do use sign, yes.
It's exciting. So I worked, my profession, by the way, is I'm a graphic designer. I've been doing it for 35, 40, probably 40 years. If I really go back, I don't even remember when it began. It's so long, but I was in the industry before and after computers. So I know traditional and then I know digital. So one
That's
of the
amazing.
I love the fact that God put me in a point where I had to like, I know both sides of the coin, you know. And you know, I'm an artist, so I'm visual, and I'm Italian. I talk with my hands, and but one of the things I worked with a deaf art director, and I got to learn a lot of different signs and the whole thing, which was goes perfect with my hand. And it's exciting. It's something that everybody should be, should in your spare time. I think it's wonderful. So it's just a point I
Berta,
wanted to make. Yes.
if you don't mind, let me, I guess I could do a dress for success, but if I could just briefly say a few things since
You
I'm
sure
here.
can. Oh, we have a video. Hello.
Yeah, I'm not dressed for success, obviously, but I'm here. So, because I think most people here know me by now, at least bits about me. I don't know if anybody knew, prior to my service in Iraq, I wanted to be a teacher. My focus was on going to school to be a teacher, but Iraq changed things. I do teach a writing class on the weekends. Today, a board member emailed me, and I would like to gauge everybody's interest. So recently, we had a holiday party. Not everybody came to that, right, because of COVID concerns. At least, my case and a few other people's cases. So somebody who was at the party emailed me today proposing maybe we do a remote mixer, so to speak. So kind of like what we're doing now for the rest of the board, for people who are maybe new to it, who doesn't have the opportunity to meet other people. I don't know if anybody would be interested in doing something like that.
Can you explain remote mixer and
So it's kind of like right now we're just introducing ourselves. It's just a little social gathering. It's not a committee meeting, not a full board meeting. You know, arguably it's like the holiday party, but no. I mean, you bring your own food.
that would be, I think, well, I'm always up for trying new things. I think that would be great socially. So, people can, you know, make sure you can turn on your video and you're, visually present. So, can put a face to the name so that when you actually meet people in person, you go, wait a minute, you're the person. Okay, that's who you are. So I think that would be great. How does everybody else feel?
Yeah.
That would actually be very interesting, especially for us, the new members. That way, we can
Yeah, I would be happy to join.
Who
Right.
said that?
Think
That was
Christine.
Christine.
Oh, okay.
And I believe Ronella also said she
Yeah.
would,
yes.
So I'll
Okay.
send out an email to the entire board, and then if you just respond with your preferences, like would it want to be a weekend, would it be a nighttime, whatever your preferences are. And then the other thing I would, all of you I think have a bio on our website. Not everybody on the board does. So, I think at least for the people like Bernadette who've been here a while, they know I've been pushing this for a long time. In some ways that's like a pre-mixer, right? You at least get to see, like Bernadette has a picture on her page. Not everybody has a picture. You don't have to have a picture, but it helps. So I think this is an important committee in the sense that education, culture, and youth services, education begins, I think, starting with us, right? People want to know who maybe are on the board, who represent them. In this meeting alone, I think we have 4 foreign language speakers, or at least 4 people, or we have people here, I would say 4 people at least that could speak a foreign language, and not the same one necessarily. So, but does everybody realize that? Does everybody know that? So, Tiz, I'm going to put you on the spot. Over the holiday, I think about 6 board members, hey, you want a Community Board 11 pop quiz? And Tiz was the first among the 6 to get one of the questions right. Most of the board members got the questions wrong.
Did I get this?
No, I
You
didn't.
were with
I
Joseph,
even
Bernadette.
you should know some of the answers. You should know some of the answers, but maybe you don't. But like one of them was like, so with Chris Kirka has been working for us since 2012. And what foreign languages does he speak? He speaks 3 of them. So Bernadette, you probably know that answer. Tiz is that's the question she got right. But other things like, how long has Harry been working for the community board? Yeah, but not everybody thinks about these things, realizes these things. When I first became district manager, you may remember this, Bernadette. Nobody called Shrado by his first name.
Yes, you did that. Yes, you did. I remember. I was very grateful because everybody was calling him Purdom. I'm like, it's his last name. It was just easier.
Yeah, I mean, look, it took me forever to figure out how to say Tasneem's last name, but now I do. But
And me too.
but still, we generally call each other by their first name. So, education, I think, and culture, we start with each other, and because how well do we really know each other? So we got lawyers on the board, we got bankers, we got veterans outside of myself, and I think it's important to explore these things because you're volunteers. I'm a paid staffer, but the way community boards are just advisory boards, and the way we really get things done is by knowing people and certain things and resources. So I highly encourage the committee when it can to focus on some of these things. I know when I think Hazel was appointed secretary, I said, congratulations to her and Veronica. Actually, Veronica was the first person on the executive board of Latin descent to be appointed to the executive board. And I know one person on the board didn't like me using the term Hispanic. And so I think if we can think outside the box, what does it actually mean to be Hispanic? What does it mean to be Albanian? I mean, I know what it means to generally be Albanian, but not everybody here does. So if Ornell is comfortable talking about what it means to be Albanian, I think we could look at outside ways to look, because again, we have a large Albanian population.
Yes,
We have a
do.
very diverse population within all of our neighborhoods, which to me is exciting. I think is exciting. It would be boring if it was just all of the same. Like years ago, it was mostly Italian and Irish. How boring. We needed more.
Well, not just that, but it wasn't only till 2 years ago that it's no longer a male-dominated board. Historically, it's always been a male-dominated board. So a majority of board members have been male.
Yes.
So that's something recent that not everybody's aware of.
No,
And traditionally, it's been Italian or Jewish, not necessarily Irish. But although Van Nest, I know, had
yes,
good
it was,
Irish.
yes. Well, yes, there was the Irish. Well, the reason why St. Dominic's was brought into being was because the Irish were there before, and none of the children were being able to enroll in Our Lady of Solace. So that's why St. Dominic's had come around with Monsignor Fiorentino, and that was his orders from Rome to help out the Italian immigrants in Van Ness. So we're going way back. So a little bit of history.
Christine had to leave, and so did
Yes,
Natalie.
I saw in the chat. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I think that's a really good idea because then we can, people can, it's almost like trivia, community trivia is, and, getting to know the little things besides the full board meetings, besides all the controversy, complaints, everything else, a little bit of, I don't know, color and flair and fun stuff, I think is more important.
And we can give out fake prizes.
Hey, well, you could give out a gift certificate to one of our local places. If somebody gets all of the trivia correct, I mean, it's just like any other, You know,
Yeah,
it
we
gives you-
could.
That
I mean, with
fair to the new.
COVID, I don't know if I, what's that?
Wouldn't be fair to the new ones.
That's true.
I
That's
wouldn't-
true.
Well, you know, I, yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. Normally, a business in our locality would probably donate to something like that, but with COVID, I wouldn't want to even dare ask.
Yes, yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
when we had the fall festival, we got for our raffles, we got five gift certificates.
Okay.
Two were from Macy's, one was from Enzo's, another one
Okay.
was oh, where was it? I forgot, but we were able to, and they were donations, and you know, the whole.
So maybe I'll do that. I mean, I can think of, I know Lamasa would probably do something.
Yes, Adeo's might also.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe I will do a raffle type thing.
Oasis would.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm sure that they would. I go there.
I'll try to, I just got to get a question I haven't asked yet.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll
Yeah,
take
That's true.
suggestions.
Yeah,
I'll take suggestions. Okay.
yeah. So yeah, that's a good thing. I think a lot of people might, you know, really enjoy that. So everybody can kind of get to know. Just tell everybody who wants to come to the mixer that to put their video on, so we put a face with the name.
A face, yeah.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
sort of helps.
And
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's useless unless we actually see who we're talking to.
Yeah. So and you see my background, okay? It's
Yeah, well, you saw my
luxury,
husband going up and down a few
Yes.
times.
you know,
you
as
see
much as where we live.
the decorations.
Yeah. Is that a an ice cream stand?
Truck. Yeah. Yep.
That I would love. Give me some ice
Well,
cream any
it,
day.
it depends on what you want.
I'll take the pretzel too.
Oh, yeah, I go for the
Yeah.
pretzel.
Give me some mustard and pretzel. I'll love it.
Jeremy, one thing I noticed, this is a whole nother point, but when you were scrolling through the resources and you had the elected officials with their office addresses, that's not Marjorie's address. She's not in Mark's office.
No, I know.
Okay.
Chris also, yeah. I'll talk to Chris about some of the.
It's in Jimmy's
Correct.
old office. It's Jimmy's. It's Jimmy Vaca's address.
Yep.
I'm
I'll
I
correct
went
it.
there already.
I've already noticed. I've already noticed some stuff. So.
Okay. So
Yep.
I just wanted to do two things with quick things with new business, and since it's only us here and Ornella, our next meeting is going to be Wednesday, February 2nd. Okay, so just put it on your calendars.
Mhm.
And I just we had talked about different guest speakers. I was just wondering if there was any what's coming up in my head. I mean, we had discussed quite a few, which I have on my list here. But what I would like to do is I would like to get Christine Vonnen, who is the superintendent of schools, of public schools.
Okay.
If I can't get her, she might have a very tight schedule. Is there any other particular schools within our district that we might want to reach out to the principals and have them be our guest speaker?
Well, there is some kind of construction going on at 108.
Yes. So that was on my list.
Yeah, so maybe we should find out more about that. I don't know if Georgette, one of the vice principals, would want to come on.
I know that Vinnie Marie, who has been the
Yes.
parent advocate, might be able to get the principal since she's
Okay.
one of the parents there, or if not, the assistant principal.
Yeah.
So, okay, I will definitely have that as a backup. Ornella, do you have any particular school within our community board 11 that you have an interest in finding out more information?
Not at the moment I can think of the top of my head.
Okay. Okay. And, just, as you go through stuff, make notes and, bring it to the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So those were the only two things I had for new business, unless there's something else, Tiz that, or Ornella, that you have.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so would it be good to say that we could adjourn the meeting?
Meeting adjourned at, I second, sorry.
Yes.
52.
It's at 8:52, so I guess we are all in favor of adjourning the meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to say thank you. I know that most of the people are not here.